or coincidental. I believe coincidental. Same as The Simpsons. A lot of things are coincidental. However, we have learned now that the writers of The Simpsons, Matt Groening, oh, I'm not supposed to say the names. Okay. The writers of The Simpsons, if you know the writer, and the writers of Back to the Future, who also wrote Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. He also played in the Ghostbusters. I think he was one of the nerds, or one of the nerds. I'm not sure. He and the guy that played Egon are best of friends in real life, and the guy who plays Egon was also a writer of some science fiction movies. And the guy who played Finkman, I think his name, or Dan Aykroyd, I should say, but you say don't say the names. They all some strange conversation about doing shows and becoming producers, and all of them are now producers. They all have produced some show, some movie, but Dan Aykroyd, for whatever reason, and John Belushi, who's now deceased, have this fixation on God, because he believes what they saw was God talking to them. So, undocumented conversation, an unauthorized report, photographs are on the internet, but you don't know who took those photos. They had a conversation. This was 1989, 90, and 91. And they said, in 30 years, they're going to make history. So 1991 plus 30 years is 2021. And something about that 30 years, I just don't know what that means. I'm still researching 30 because that was a line in a movie. See you in 30 years, Doc. The Devil's Reign was a period of 30 years. The Plague was a period of 30 years. Armageddon is supposed to be a battle of souls for 30 years. The Rapture is supposed to take place in 30 days. The moon cycle is 30 days. Lunar cycle. So something about this 30, trying to get to it. Jewish law acclimates that a man is a grown-up adult at the age of 30, but he is bar mitzvah at 13. So he's able to get married, have a job, drop out of school, whatever. So Jesus wasn't crucified until the age of 30. He was not crucified at 13, 14, 15, or nothing like that, and it was not a child. He was a grown man, 30 years old. Had to quench my thirst right quick. I'll let you know. So, there's a show called I Survived. Alive and Back, or Death and Back, something like that. And they have people talking about their out-of-body experiences, and they've seen the future, or they've seen God, whatever. the actor who played the Kung Fu Panda, I think his name right quick is that guy. He played Tommy Boy also. He had a demon attack him. I don't know if the demon attacked him while he was on Saturday Night Live or while he was doing a movie show or whatever, but David Spade has always talked about the demons that come on set. And people thought he was a drug addict when he talked about it, but he hasn't talked about it since then. The last person to talk about it was Andy Kaufman. And then even with him, they thought he was insane. Like, oh, he's telling those jokes again. He's crazy. You can't see it. It's not an actual person. It's a spirit of something. I've heard white people call it OCD. But if you haven't had OCD before, and then one day you wake up and you just have OCD, that's a demon. If you actually had OCD, it's something you were born with, and you do it your entire life. You've been doing it since you were a child. If you just wake up one day and you just start tapping your feet a certain number of times and moving your head a certain number of times, and you have to do this behavior over and over again, or you just can't get right, that's the demon. Andy Kaufman had it. There's been times where he would have to recite a poem or sing a lullaby before he could do or say his next line, taxi, and people just thought he was ad-libbing and thought it was funny. It's not funny. It's a person who's under spiritual attack. But we don't know. It's hard to cast the demon out because we don't know where the source came from. You got to attack the source. Otherwise, all you're doing is casting it out of him and it's going to jump into somebody else. And we don't know when he got it. He just got it. And I know it sounds crazy. You're like, what? What are you talking about, Dr. Q? What's going on? So, the guy who played Tommy Boy, what's the guy that played Tommy Boy, Green? You got an L name. It's really sleeping, so let me Google it. In one moment. So he was the fat white boy with the blonde hair. Chris Farley, got it. Chris Farley, he started getting famous, and one day he went to eat, and he was doing a role with David Spade in the movie Tommy Boy, and in the middle of mid-sentence, talking to David Spade, he said something happened to him. He took a large, deep breath, like he was suffocating. And I believe that was the demon jumping into him. And from that day forward, he was on a destructive path of suicide. And pretty much everything he's done was self-destruction of himself. Drugs, the cocaine, the eating 2 plates of the same food, it was part of the OCD. Everything had to be in pairs. He had to do a line or do a rehearsal twice. He had to use the bathroom, walk out the bathroom backwards, walk back into the bathroom, wash his hands, and then go forward out. There was a pattern of things that he just had to do. He wasn't doing it before. He just had to do. They asked him on an interview, about being the black sheep of the family, who do you pattern your comedy behind? And he said John Candy, John Belushi, and John Goodman. The three Johns. It's John, John, John. And he said he wanted to die like John Belushi. So he died exactly like John Belushi. Accidental overdose. And in fact, he said he knew he was going to die like John Belushi. So when the demon attacks you and brings you to your death, it actually will tell you how you're going to die, when you're going to die, and how excruciating it's going to be. And there's nothing you can do to break free. You're just a passenger in your own body. So it's very spooky to be possessed. You will time travel right here. When the guy, William Tesla, had the idea to create the time machine, because he wanted to see what the end would be, what the end of the world would be, what the end of time would be, what would be the limits of mankind. But they never discovered it, because man can only live to be but so old and could not see beyond a certain path. And then when you die and you come back into another body, you're not going to remember what you were doing. So you leave yourself these clues we call deja vu and blah, blah, blah. So it's just a hunch, but I can't prove it yet because I haven't met the man. It is just a hunch that Elon Musk is William Tesla. Just a hunch. Now, why I say just a hunch? Because I recall there was a conversation where man said, "You just scum, purely low scum." And if you rearrange the words Elon Musk, you get the word lone, L-O-N-E, scum, S-K-U-M rather than S-C-U-M, which is Elon Musk. It's called an anagram. And we taught you this, how to see words and names inside of other words and names. Like a friend, period friend, and then you rearrange the letters, you come up with another word or something, things like that. We did one in school, which was iron sulfide. We took the words and changed them around. I can't remember what the word was, but I remember the answer was iron sulfide. Somebody friend, and you rearrange the word iron sulfide. So just keep your eyes open. Time travel will be great for those that know how to handle it, but it will also be detrimental because if you're not exactly on the minute of the minute, you could be writing a new timeline or creating a paradox, which is where two timelines exist at the same time and overwrite each other. Children should not be born. I'll give you an example of how I know for a fact that somebody has been messing with the timeline. My mother, my aunt, a couple of older relatives